The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
Diddy Combs escaped a life in prison after the shocking verdict in his trial, acquitted of all the serious charges he was facing. But Combs is still locked up, and he is scheduled for sentencing in October, and now is trying to get released beforehand. And now, another unexpected twist in the case. One of his alleged victims is asking the judge to let him out. We have the details. Meanwhile, in Georgia, the start of a new trial on court TV involving a military JAG officer accused of murdering his second wife and dismembering her body. And now prosecutors want the jury to hear about his first and third wives to prove their case about the second wife. And tonight, we have the latest. But first, a desperate manhunt in Tennessee continues. 28-year-old Autumn Drummond remains at large and is wanted for the brutal killings of 4 people, all from the same family in Tiptonville, Tennessee. James Wilson, 21 years old. Adriana Williams, 20 years old. Courtney Rose, 38 years old. And Braden Williams, just 15, whose bodies were all discovered on July 29, 2025. A 7-month-old little girl related to the victims was found abandoned in a stranger's yard about 40 minutes away, sending shockwaves through the community. All of this believed to be part of the same targeted attack by Drummond, who had recently been released from prison and was out on bond for attempted murder. Where is Drummond, and why was the baby's life spared? Plus, new details tonight about 3 other people arrested in connection to this investigation. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And the manhunt continues tonight in Tennessee for this suspected killer of 4 people. But this story began a different way. The story began, it was a story of a miracle baby. Little baby Wesleyan was found abandoned on a stranger's property. A baby was found. The person who left the baby there apparently made sure that everyone knew the child was there, because whoever was abandoning that baby wanted to make sure the baby survived. And that really makes her a miracle baby in all of this, because 4 members of her family are gone. But she was spared. Not only spared, but saved. Delivered to someone who the killer believed would take care of the child and make sure the child was safe. And that's why we're talking about Autumn Drummond, the suspect, as an alleged killer with a heart, which is, it's an oxymoron. Right? You don't do what he's accused of doing and be looked at as, well, you know, he's got a good heart. But that's what's puzzling about all this. Extremely puzzling, because the baby was saved. If the baby was left behind with the adults who were slaughtered, there would have been no one left to take care of that baby. And there would have been no one looking for the adults. But because the baby was placed where strangers would find her, they were able to put the pieces together and begin looking for those adults. And we're talking about 4 victims here, all from the same family. 4 of them dead. And these were the adults. Well, not even all adults. One is only 15 years old, but was the uncle of the baby. These were the people that were surrounding this child in this baby's life. And they're all gone. And that's why everyone's trying to figure out, like, why and how would someone do this? Be cruel enough to take out a 15-year-old, young parents, and a grandmother, and spare the child and want that child to grow up knowing that she survived this mass murder somehow, some way. It's bizarre. It's very bizarre. But now we're getting a little closer, I believe, in this case. We've got 3 connected arrests that have taken place. So they've locked up 3 people who are somehow in some way connected to what happened here and may very well have important information. And that's where we begin tonight with new information coming from the city of Jackson, Tennessee. The police department has issued an announcement to the residents. A confirmed sighting of the suspect, Austin Drummond, was captured on a citizen's camera system in the 700 block of Pipkin Road last night. Drummond is considered armed and dangerous, so it still seems like he's in the area. And they've asked everyone, take a look at the footage on your surveillance cameras. Tell us if you find him, if you see him. This man's armed and dangerous. They don't want you to approach him, but they want you to make the phone call. And it just seems like things are beginning to heat up more and more. Let's talk about who was arrested here. The 3 so-called associates. Tanaka Brown, male from Jackson, Tennessee, arrested on Friday. Charges accessory after the fact to first-degree murder and also tampering with evidence. Then you've got Javonte Thomas, another man from Jackson, arrested on Saturday, accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. And Diara Sanders, a female, arrested on Monday, accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. All of them can likely, if they decide to, provide some important information in this manhunt. Also, $30,000 reward for information leading to the apprehension of Austin Drummond. This is the generous support of various agencies. You've got $10,000 from the Tennessee Governor's Office, $7,500 from the TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, $10,000 from the U.S. Marshal Service, and $2,500 from the Dyer County Crime Stoppers. Now, the Dyer County Sheriff's Office was requested this morning to participate in the manhunt for Drummond in Jackson. They responded to assist, and let's get some more information about that search. We're joined by multimedia journalist Charlie Stone for NBC affiliate station WNBJ TV 39 in Jackson, Tennessee. Charlie, great to see you tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. What happened today? What can you tell us? I don't think we're getting some audio. I think you're still muted there, Charlie. We got it? All right, stand by, Charlie. We're going to get back to you in just a second. We're going to hook up Charlie's audio. Right now, let's bring in our think tank, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III, criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland, and family law attorney Jennifer Brandt, all with us tonight on our think tank. Only Jennifer Brandt is with us. The other 2, they're up to no good. Clearly, Jennifer Brandt, Al and Darnell, clearly up to no good. It seems like the intense...
I got rid of them, Vinny.
Yeah, exactly. So what are your initial thoughts here about what type of person we're looking for if he wipes out an entire family but spares the child and does so in a way to ensure that the baby is found, not just leaving the baby, in a stranger's yard, but making, hey, make sure there's a baby over here. And I haven't seen this. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but it's not that often that a accused quadruple mass murderer would have the heart to spare a baby. What do you think's going on here?
Well, regardless of sparing the baby, you're dealing with a very, very dangerous individual who was already in prison for 10 years and is out on bond for attempted murder of someone while he was in prison. And how he ever got out and why he was ever released on bond, we don't know. I mean, that is the problem, because this is a dangerous guy. I think the DA had said at one point in a parole hearing that this is somebody who should never be out of prison, who's a danger to society. And clearly we can see that. He got out of prison on bond and goes and slaughters an entire family. But he had a connection to this family. Apparently he dated the grandmother's sister at some point. So, maybe that's the reason why he spared this infant. Maybe because he did have that connection to the family. Why he killed the other family members, that remains to be to be seen. We don't know, why he was so angry at them and if there was any kind of vendetta or something against his family that caused him to do this. But it wasn't just a random killing, as far as we know, because he did have some connection to that family.
Darnell Crossland is with us. Darnell, this is a man on the run with nothing to lose at this point, right? He served 13 years in prison, more than a decade. He's got attempted murder charges that are outstanding. He's out on bond. I don't know why or how that happened, but it did. And now he's suspected in a mass murder. This guy has nothing to lose at this point. This is the most dangerous of dangerous, I believe.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. And the sad reality about it is when these cases are developing like this, even when the police grab them, they have to then wrestle with a charge that they can bring on that person just to hold them, to keep us safe until the processes go through and they can hit them with the murder. So they have to collect evidence. They have to make sure the public is safe. All this is happening in real time, but we need to make sure the public is safe.
All right, we've got Charlie Stone on the phone right now from the NBC affiliate station WNBJ TV 39 in Jackson. Charlie, what can you tell us about what happened today's search?
Well, today we had the Jackson Police Department and their SWAT team on scene. We had the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. We had the Crockett County Sheriffs, Tennessee Highway Patrol. I think the U.S. Marshals were there too. They were searching for hours. I got there at about 11 a.m. and I stayed until about 2 p.m. And they were using helicopters, they were using dogs, drones, all sorts of stuff. And I don't think they ever found him, but there was an extensive search.
So describe the area for us. Is it rural? Is it wooded? Is there access by highways? What are we talking about?
Yeah, they were actually set up at the West Jackson Baptist Church, and right beside that is a pretty big section of woods. It's near Union University. And I think that woods is pretty big. It would be hard to find somebody in there.
Now, did they make any indication on what led them there? And have there been any sightings of any of the various vehicles that have been reported as potential vehicles that the suspect could be in?
The vehicles, they actually found some of them over the weekend in the woods. I'm not sure exactly where. I'm not sure what led them to this section of town, but it was confirmed that they saw Austin Drummond on somebody's Ring doorbell camera last night on Pipkin Road, which is near that section of woods where everybody was.
Locals have to be on edge, Charlie. I mean, my goodness, you've got a desperate accused mass murderer who just got out of prison on the run here with nothing to lose. How are folks responding in the community?
Oh, for sure, everybody's on edge. The Jackson Police Department has issued several warnings. Don't approach this guy. Keep your doors and windows locked. If you see anything, let us know. Yeah, people are on edge. Part of my story today was trying to talk to people in Jackson about how they felt about it, and I did manage to get one person before I was called to the scene, and they were definitely on edge.
And how about, are they shutting down schools? Is there extra security at schools? Any concern there? And you did mention that he was apparently near the campus of a university or a college?
As far as I know, there are no heightened security measures being taken. I haven't heard anything about that. Today was actually the first day of school for a lot of Jackson public schools. I'm sure if this manhunt continues, they might be taking extra precautions.
And have we heard anything about a motive and connection here?
As far as connection, it is not confirmed, but I have seen several people talking on Facebook that a person he is involved with was related to the family. And that's all I know as far as connection.
And any idea of, so give us an idea of which part of Tennessee we're in, and is there a chance that he could easily get to another state from where he is in Tennessee?
Well, we are in West Tennessee. We are in sort of upper West Tennessee. The crimes are committed in Northwest Tennessee, so Lake County and Dyer County. From there, someone could pretty easily flee to Arkansas or Kentucky. As far as we know, he's still in Jackson as far as the sightings go. So I personally don't think he's fled.
All right, Charlie Stone helping us out from WNBJ-TV 39 in Jackson, Tennessee. Thanks so much, Charlie.
Thank you for having me on.
All right, let's go back to our think tank. Introduce it. Look at it. The gang's all here. Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt. Great to see everyone. Al, I've been talking about this all night. This is someone who's clearly desperate. This is someone who's dangerous. How surprised are you that he's still hanging out in Northwest Tennessee tonight?
That's unbelievable. I mean, that talk about chutzpah. I mean, to do something like that is just wild, especially when you're looking at this kind of a case. You're looking at this horrific crime, and the guy is still around. It's just scary. But what a horrible story, and what a disgusting thing to do. And this poor child, I mean, a miracle baby, but I mean, this poor kid's life has been affected forever. And it's just, I can't wait till this guy is picked up.
Jennifer Brandt, what do you think is happening right now with Tanaka Brown, Javonte Thomas, and Diarra Sanders? These are the three people arrested, all charged with accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. You think they got them in a room trying to work out some information here?
I think they have them in 3 separate rooms, Vinny, trying to get information from each one of them to see if one will kind of turn on the others and make a deal and give the information. And so we can get to the bottom of why this happened, what they did, and, where this guy is, where is Drummond and who's helping him? Because if he's out there, he must be getting help from somebody because, he's just out of prison. What connections does he have?
Yeah,
where's he going?
You got to eat. You got to find a place to sleep. You've got to use facilities. You've got all these things.
Right.
You may at some point want to take a shower. You may want to brush your teeth. I don't know. Darnell Crossland, how serious charges, accessory after the fact to first-degree murder? Is it serious enough that you could put some real pressure on these three and get some information from them?
Yeah, different statutes have different applications, but accessory sometimes is really, really severe, almost rivals the charge itself. So I think that these people are going to really have some things to consider in terms of how valuable this guy is to them and why would they put their freedom at risk. But accessory after the fact to first-degree murder is very, very serious.
And now, one way that they had the lead today was the video that someone got from their cameras. I mean, there are people, not everyone, but a large portion of the population now, they have security cameras that are triggered by movement. They have Ring cameras or other brands as their doorbell, which are also cameras. You've got traffic cameras in cities now. You've got license plate readers, but you also have a lot of woods where we are. What are your thoughts and theories about how long this guy could actually stay on the lam?
Well, first of all, you got to deal with the fact that this guy is just extremely dangerous. So anyone who does see him should not be doing anything on their own. They should be calling the authorities immediately. Do not try to confront this person because obviously he's desperate and he's a situation where he's already killed 4. I mean, there's no reason why he wouldn't kill 5. So that's first of all. Second of all, you're right. With everything that's going around now, you're going to be able to see him. But once again, as I said, do not try to approach this guy alone. Get the authorities involved and get them on top of him because he's a dangerous individual who's a trapped animal, and trapped animals will do anything to survive.
And Jennifer Brandt, at this point, I've got to think, from law enforcement's perspective, like you got a lot of different departments working on this, and now it's a matter of we need to get this done. Like, this is job one of law enforcement, right, is to protect. And the best way to protect in these circumstances is to get this guy into custody. So I've got to think the man power, woman power, the hours that are being put into this are going to be around the clock and as intense as it gets.
For sure. And I mean, he's a danger to the community. He's a dangerous person at large. Yeah, they should have all resources out there trying to get him. And the fact that he was spotted on somebody's Ring camera, I mean, the public, they put the public on alert. You know, everybody should be checking their Ring cameras. Everybody should be looking at videos. Store owners, you know, residents, they should be looking and helping the police and contacting the police if they see anybody, you see him anywhere.
And Darnell, one thing that has a lot of people upset is that he served his entire sentence. He couldn't get parole because they knew he was such a risk. He didn't get parole. He had to serve his whole sentence. But while he was in prison, he's charged with attempted murder. And he got bond. He got bond. Like, how does that even happen? How is that even like a possibility? It's not like, you know, he got into a little fight or, you know, he knocked someone's dinner tray over. I mean, this is attempted murder. And he gets bond?
Yeah, well, it's very peculiar because, one, when you have situations where we are always trying to say to ourselves that you're presumed innocent, you have a right to bail. Bail is to make sure that, you know, you return to court. Here's the thing. Bail is supposed to make sure you're not a danger to yourself or to the community. And they take into consideration your charges. And so on that one element alone, bond should have been revoked. In New York, they remand you without even, you know, it's not even a matter of making a bond so high that you can't get it. They can just remand you. And so this would have been a case where he should have been remanded. But in terms of being on the lam, they got LPRs, like you said, they got face recognition nowadays. And the funny thing about staying in the same neighborhood is weird. You think that he'll go far, but a lot of these people don't have resources in even the state next door. So they stay around the same area trying to use the resource they have. And it puts them obviously in jeopardy of getting caught, but that's all they have. They're not intelligent. They don't have the resources.
All right, we're going to stay on this story. Obviously, anything happens, we will let you know. When we come back, Think Tank stays with us. We're going to talk about this brand new trial on Court TV, the dismembered wife murder trial. A lot to talk about there, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan investigates a brilliant law professor is executed in his driveway, and the trail leads straight to his ex-wife's family. Did Wendy Adelson know about the plan to kill Dan Markel? Tonight, we investigate.
The Court TV podcast will return.
December 2nd, 2022, deer hunters in Riceboro, Georgia, find the torso of a nude, headless woman deep in the woods of a local hunting club. Investigators found the rest of her remains scattered within a 3 to 4 mile radius across 3 counties. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations released composite sketches of the unidentified woman in hopes of giving her a name. 5 months later, on May 11th, 2023, police announced that they found the remains of Mindy Kassotis. They used DNA from family members to make the positive identification. Mindy Kassotis was 40 years old when she was killed. The day after her remains were identified, her husband, Nicholas, was arrested in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
So this case, as the court knows, is incredibly gruesome in a way that I believe will create additional trauma.
Nicholas Kassotis, who is also known by the alias Nicholas Killian James Stark, was extradited back to Georgia and charged with malice murder, aggravated assault, and removal of human body parts from the scene of death. Prosecutors say in the months before Mindy's death, she and Nicholas were on the run because of an outstanding $1.5 million judgment owed to his first wife, Heather Thomas.
Its motive for him being on the run, it explains the story started all because of this.
Local station WTOC was in the courtroom when his attorney argued that the money was not the motive, but that a mystery man named Jim McIntyre was involved with the case.
Jim McIntyre, whether clearly that wasn't his real name, absolutely exists. They were living, moving every few days, few weeks, few months at the control of this person that we'll just keep calling Jim McIntyre.
Nicholas Kassotis has pleaded not guilty. If he is convicted, he could be sentenced to up to life in prison.
What a case. What a story. And yeah, the defendant has a story. So again, just to reiterate what's going on here, and this is an important part of it. So he has 3 wives, right? Mindy is wife number 2. Now, prior to Mindy's death, Nicholas's ex-wife won a $1.5 million divorce judgment against him. And prosecutors are saying that wife 2 and Nicholas went on the run so they didn't have to pay the 1.5 to wife number 1. But the defense is saying that Mindy and Nicholas were fleeing from some guy named Jim McIntyre, who they say controlled their finances. Prosecutors saying Jim McIntyre doesn't exist in the real world. But the defense says both Nicholas and Mindy told people about running from McIntyre before Mindy's death. Let's bring back in our think tank. Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt. This is a mess. This is a mess. What are your thoughts here, Al, about the mysterious Jim McIntyre?
Well, that's a great little, thing to throw out there. You want to have somebody you can blame it. They're going to put that name out there. They're going to put everything through that this is the guy they should be looking for, and they grab the wrong man. So, I mean, it's sort of like that New Jersey case where it was the woman in the floppy hat that was in the house and, ended up involved with the murder of the guy's wife and things down the line. It throws doubt out there, and it's a nice little tool.
Darnell, I think McIntyre will be the one that the defense points at as being the bad guy in all of this, right? They're on the run to get away from this guy. My guess is the murder of Mindy will be blamed on this man, Jim McIntyre. But isn't it incumbent upon the defense, if you're going to allege that there is some guy like this, that you would have some evidence that this man exists and you'd be able to present that inside of a courtroom?
Spoken like a true prosecutor, Vinny. I think you're not rusty at all. Litigation is what I do every day. And when you have a situation like you just described, it's called third-party culpability. And if you're going to make a third-party culpability claim, judges slap us around all the time saying just what you just said. Give me more than that. You can't just walk in here saying, it was another person who did it. Somebody stole my homework, and you don't know who it is. It as Al said, it could be valuable, but it has to get through certain levels of legal thresholds. So in order
would it be enough? Would it be enough, Darnell, if the victim was talking about this guy also?
No, not at all. I mean, if the victim was talking about this guy, they'd have to say, what's the context? Is this guy a murderer? This guy, just a mere mention of this person. So each court, as the court is the gatekeeper, is going to have to look at it and say, is it sufficient? But I don't think just merely mentioning some guy named McIntyre, the alleged McIntyre, is enough.
All right, Jennifer Brandt, explain to us a $1.5 million divorce judgment. How does that happen?
Well, it sounds like he had quite a bit of money to get that kind of divorce judgment, because that was probably half or more, maybe a little bit more than half of the marital estate. So we're talking about a fair amount of money that he had to be able to pay that kind of judgment, which clearly he couldn't pay. That's why he was allegedly on the run.
Well,
or maybe he
what
just
happens?
didn't want to pay it because he had to fight.
What happens to you if you have a $1.5 million judgment and you don't pay it? Like, what is the court going to do to you? They don't put you in debtor's prison, do they?
The court has enforcement. Oh, well, they do. I mean, there's enforcement powers and contempt proceedings, and punishment can be sanctions, can be jail. So yeah.
Like, I get it for child support. I get it for child support, but
no. I'm talking about a judgment against you. They can enter it as a judgment against him. Take his assets, levy upon his assets. I mean, we don't know what he had, but he probably had some worth to get that kind of judgment. Somebody just didn't pull that out of the air. This is not a civil judgment against him in terms of like harm that he did to somebody. This is probably based on some kind of asset division. So, he was out to take care of his new wife and beyond.
If it's judgment, how do you run? You can't run from the judgment. You can't put the house on your back. I mean, the house or whatever the assets are stay where they are.
maybe he had money. He had money that he was trying to get away and not pay that money. But I don't know how far he was going to get, just like Darnell pointed out. I mean, there's only so far you can get. The courts can catch up with you. And going from state to state doesn't really matter because, if you have a judgment against you, it can be enforceable in multiple states.
Al, let's talk about motive here. Let's talk about motive, because I got something else. This is for the motive for the murder of wife number 2. Apparently, prosecutors have evidence of a receipt that he was going on a date with, I guess, future wife number 3 and bought a condom and some Old Spice.
He should be prosecuted just for that. But, under the circumstances, first of all, the case I was referring to before was Dr. Jeffrey McDonald, which is interesting because McDonald was also ex-military like this guy and was a doctor. In this case, this guy is a lawyer, former JAG attorney. So, we're dealing with someone that is skilled, is intelligent, and, has a good educational background, plus also military training. They're definitely looking at something with regards to the new wife number 3, because this woman disappears and he just went right back into the swing of things and hooked up with, bride number 3. I don't think the $1.5 million is something that would have been a motive to take out wife number 2. I think the bigger motive is moving on to wife number 3 and not getting another $1.5 million verdict against you in the second divorce.
That actually is an argument might very well resonate with the jury. Like, he got taken to the cleaners in the first one, and he didn't want to do it again. Wow. All right. Al Wunsch, Darnell Cross, and Jennifer Brandt staying with us. When we come back, Diddy, one of his accusers / alleged victims, is writing a letter in support of Diddy, wants him released. Details coming up.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Today's a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system. You saw that the Southern District of New York prosecutors came at him with all that they had. They're not stopping, but one thing stands between all of us and a prison, and that is a jury of 12 citizens. And we had a wonderful jury. They listened to every word, and they got the situation right, or certainly right enough.
It was a huge victory for Diddy Combs, but he wasn't released from jail. He was convicted of the most minor of all the charges. His sentencing is scheduled for October, but he's been trying desperately to get out of jail, pending his sentencing. And guess who's coming to his aid? One of the alleged victims in the case, who wrote a letter. Take a listen as one of our producers reads that letter to the judge.
My name is Virginia Hoon, and I'm writing as the person identified as victim 3 in this case. I have known Sean Combs for many years, in both a personal and professional capacity. From that experience, I have seen him primarily as a father, a family man, and a businessman, roles that he has always striven to uphold. I provide this letter to share my observations about his character and to respectfully request that the court permit his release on bond while the case proceeds. Our relationship, like many, was not always perfect. We experienced ups and downs, and mistakes were made, but he was willing to acknowledge his mistakes and make better decisions in the future. Over the years that followed, he made visible efforts to become a better person and to address the harm he had caused. By the time our relationship ended, he embodied an energy of love, patience, and gentleness that was markedly different from his past behavior. To my knowledge, he has not been violent for many years, and he has committed to being a father first. I am writing because I do not view Mr. Combs as a danger to me or to the community. I want to assure the court that if released, I believe Mr. Combs will adhere to all conditions imposed and will not jeopardize his freedom or the well-being of his family. Respectfully, Virginia Hoon.
Now, despite that effort and, wanting to post tens of millions of dollars and in all the conditions, take a look at what happened. The judge denied it. The motion for bail is denied. So ordered, dated August 4th, 2025. Let's bring back in our think tank. Al Wunsch, Darnell Cross, and Jennifer Brandt. The judge doesn't want to let him out, so that's not going to happen. Like, they've tried everything. But what does it tell us, Darnell, right now about what's happening here if you've got a jury that comes back and dismisses almost all the charges except the trafficking of the male prostitutes who were flown in to have sex, to get paid to have sex with his girlfriends, right? That's what he got convicted of. Not guilty of everything else. One of the alleged victims now writing letters to the judge on his behalf. What's going on here?
Well, first of all, this is ridiculous. If you remember the boxer Jack Johnson, he was arrested under the same Mann Act because he would cross state lines with white women, and they didn't want that. And, famously, you could read, he's flying down the road with the white woman in the car, and the police stop him. They say, we got to give you a ticket. He says, how much? They said $100. He said, here's $200. I'll be back in an hour, same speed. This is a ticket. No one gets prosecuted for this Mann Act. And the only reason why he's in jail now is because they say technically that there's a presumption that under that charge, bail is supposed to be denied. Not that he's a danger, but there's a carve out that says this is not a bailable offense. But other than that, I mean, he should be home. This judge, I think, is upset that he beat the major charges, and a lot of people just can't believe it. And I hate to say, but the courts, if they're cheering for one side or the other, this is the time for them to show their power and say, hey, we were on this side. This, the least we can do is keep you in. And I think that's what this is about.
Al, I'm not a Diddy fan, and no one believes that any of this behavior was correct, but we have to evaluate our system day in and day out. Is this the way it normally goes? This is how it goes? You fly a male prostitute in, you pay him, and then he has sex with your girlfriend, and then you go to prison for years?
It's a violation of the law, and he was convicted.
Where
of
are the
it.
feds on
And
Super Bowl
there is a
weekend?
carve-out.
Why don't they do something on Super Bowl weekend? You know how many prostitutes are flown into the Super Bowl city every year? Are we going to arrest all of those men and send them to federal prison?
This was part of the charges. This wasn't the only charges he was charged with, as we know. There were a lot more serious charges against him, the trafficking and all those things along those lines, which the jury did not find him to be guilty of. They did find he was guilty of this. There is a carve-out that says he's not entitled to bail. Why would he be given special treatment just because he gets a letter? And in fact, that letter was kind of bizarre, too, because she refers to him as accused. He's a little past the accused stage at this point. He's convicted. So under the circumstances,
But again, convicted
they
of
followed the law.
Convicted of what? Is I guess really what we're talking about. Like,
Convicted of the violation of the Mann Act. He's convicted of the violation of the Mann Act. He is not accused anymore, Vinny. He's a convicted felon.
But I mean, I've seen people in the news. One of them was, I think, the son of a president. Did the same thing. Nothing happens. Like, what's going on? Is this selective prosecution? Why Diddy, Jennifer Brandt? I'm not, and again, I'm not a Diddy fan. Don't like the behavior. Like, all this stuff is crazy. But I'm just going by, like, how our system treats everyone with a blindfold. Is that happening here, Jennifer Brandt?
Yeah. Well, we know it's not a blindfold, and I think the judge is trying to make a lesson and try to give everyone a lesson out of him. He's well known. He's, there was a lot of attention on this trial. It's not a bailable offense, so the judge is taking a hard line and saying, no, you'll stay in jail until the sentencing, and then we'll, see what happens from there. They're not going to give him special treatment, and I think it's because of his fame that it's hurting him at this point, not helping him.
So, Darnell, is this sort of a prelude to what's going to happen to him at sentencing? That he's going to get the high end of all this? Because it's quite a range and the prosecution defense not even close to agreeing in the amount of time here.
Well, that's the funny thing about this. When you pray, as a practicing attorney, you must learn to pray. And when you pray, your prayers sound like this. I hope and pray that he denied this bail because he's given the prosecution this card, given one for them by keeping them in, and then when the sentencing come, let him go. Because sometimes when you're getting yelled at and screamed at a certain juncture in the proceeding, you may get some sunshine at the other side. Even though other times you're getting love and you see all this love, and then boom, you get hammered at the end. So I'm hoping and praying, and I'm sure other people are as well, because I don't agree with this Mann Act charge. So if he's leaving him in now to give him a little bit of a punishment, the weekend jail, sometimes we ask judge, can you just raise my client's bond, put him in for a weekend, give him let him get the point, and then reduce the bond so he's not convicted. Maybe this is one of those plays. So I'm hoping that's what it is, but we have to wait and see.
Let me ask you, Al, who's the victim in his crime?
The girlfriends. But they didn't, the woman that wrote the letter didn't testify.
Right.
So, that's the situation
so
here.
So for
the
Mann Act, the victim is the person who the prostitute was paid to have sex with?
No, it's you're talking about with regards to the victim of the Mann Act. The victim in the Mann Act would be the fact that it was money procured to bring someone over for the purpose of having sex with someone who may have been against their will.
But he wasn't convicted. It wasn't convicted of against their will.
But that was what he was charged with, though. So that's part and parcel of that offense. It's a lesser included offense as to what he was charged with.
All right.
Look, you know what? The bottom line is this: I don't disagree. I don't disagree with Darnell that what's happened in the past with regards to this, especially with regards to African American defendants, is not right, and it has been a horrendous situation. But he was convicted of this offense. It does not give him bail, and the judges being the law.
Time. Al Wunsch, Darnell Cross, and Jennifer Brand. Thank you all so much. When we come back, I'll reveal something else you need to know tonight. Plus, coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, as her mother faces trial and the killers sit behind bars, Wendy Adelson remains untouched by the justice system. Will prosecutors finally turn their sights on her? Tonight, we investigate.
This is the Court TV Podcast.
Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. And we got some parents speaking out about the accused Devil's Den killer. You may recall he's a teacher. So they are saying, some of these parents, that he was putting children on his lap. This according to the New York Post. He said things like, I wish I could date you. I wish you could be my girlfriend. Just really nasty, like grooming behavior. Said a father of someone who attended the elementary school. You're talking about an 8-year-old girl he was talking about. Scary that he was a teacher as we find out more details about this accused killer. Please take a look at your screen. We have a missing child who needs your help tonight. Take a look. This is Charles Curtis Baker, just 15 years old, missing from Houston, Texas. If you see Charles, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST. Or you can call the Houston Police Department in Texas. That number's on your screen right now. Let's see if we can get Charles to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.
There you have it. If you want to see more in-depth reporting on the latest true crime stories, you can see me every weeknight, 8 p.m. Eastern on Closing Arguments. Thank you so much for downloading. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.
This podcast is a production of Court TV. Go to CourtTV.com for more content, trials on demand, and to find out how to watch Court TV in your area.